Automobilista 2 is a game that features several generations of Formula One from current era, previous modern era, all the way to classic eras of the sport, and as well includes a ton of circuits, including several Formula One circuits, including Monaco, as well as Imola, Indianapolis, Sao Paulo, Montreal, Jerez, Suzuka, Monza, and more as well. As we're going to beg the question, is this the best Formula One game in 2026? This game has gotten a huge amount of high praise in the F1 world as of late, and we're putting it to the test here as I'm going to do a couple of races. This is probably going to be a two-video kind of thing. I might do another video later, but we're checking out the modern era of Formula One, and these are the most current, up-to-date modern cars in the game. Basically, it's the 2025 cars, basically, and we're going to check out the beginning of the hybrid era from, like 2014/15 era as well. But, I mean, we're coming through here into Spa for a 10-lap race. We're not going to do all the laps. We're just going to do enough laps to get an idea of, what is on offer here. And the question, again, is this the best F1 game in 2026? In short, no. In my opinion, absolutely not. That's not a bad thing, though, because this game's actually a huge amount of fun, and I'm going to go over some positives and some negatives as you see me racing here in Spa, and as well we'll be heading to the Montreal Canadian Grand Prix as well in this video. But with the game, why isn't it the best game for Formula One in 2026? Well, if you're looking for a really fun Formula One experience all around, the F1 game itself is going to be the better experience, especially for AI, because Automobilista is all really about single player focus. Of course, multiplayer is a thing, but it's really not that huge in Automobilista 2, so it's going to be hard to find some proper online racing. So single player is kind of where it's at in Automobilista 2. And the AI can differ from different types of cars. Now, in the open wheel Formula One style of AI, the AI is definitely currently in a lacking state. Now, the AI is something that, I'm going to botch their name, I always do, but Ryza Studios, the developers of the game, they have been actively updating the AI and making it better over the years. But in the open wheel category right here in Formula One, it's still not that great. When people make fun of Formula One, like they don't like it because they call it like a parade and that everyone just follows the leader and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's kind of what the AI do here in at least these modern cars with Formula One. They kind of just follow a parade, and you can see it up there in front of me. Look at that. They're all just in a single line. They really like to do that in this car. So that is one of the biggest flaws. If you're going to be playing it for a single player experience, that's what you're going to kind of get, and it takes a lot of fun out of it. And I just immediately, the F1 games itself are significantly better on that side of things. Obviously, as well, they don't have official F1 rosters or cars in the game, but it's a PC game with a ton of mod support, so you can get official rosters as well as liveries with mods. So that is also relatively straightforward once you get the hang of things, so it's not that big of a hurdle, but obviously still, you don't have the official stuff inside the game itself without mods. Now, as you can see, the AI trying to fight up ahead, you do get a little bit of battling like this now, and actually some fair amount of contact, but overall, it just kind of lacks, it's, of course, it's a game about all of motorsport, so it doesn't focus on just Formula One, where the F1 games, they can focus solely on Formula One and dive deep into, the deep end of Formula One, basically, and add all those Formula One focus features and whatnot. And that's where the F1 games went out. If you're looking for just, the F1 experience in 2026, even as flawed as those games are and as downhill as they have gone in recent years, I still think that is going to be your better bet. But what does this game do right? As well, the AI, as well, I was just trying to test if they would follow me if I've dropped offline and maybe try to pick up my slipstream. They don't really do that, unfortunately, but what the game does right, though, is if you're just coming in to have fun racing, you're going to get that here in Automobilista 2, because it doesn't matter what you're driving. you are going to have fun driving these cars. And as well, you see me getting a lock up there on the right front, and one thing that this game does is actually you get like flat spots on your tires when you lock up your wheels, which I think is really cool. Big lock up there, and now you can really see a big flat spot on my right front tire. Stuff like that's really cool. The cars itself are super fun to drive. Now the cars in this game, in this car specifically, if I was to compare this car to, well, the F125 car, which this is based off basically, this is so much more fun to drive than the F1 games. Of course, Automobilista 2 is a bit more on the side of simulation versus F1's more a little bit like, you know, it's hardcore simcade basically, where this one is way more leaning towards sim, and it's just so much more fun to drive, and you really got to fight the car at times. Everything feels a bit more proper with the slides and the rear slip of the car. It just feels way more natural and real, I guess you could say, than, you know, an F125. So in terms of driving, that's where this game does definitely win out in like the best part of 2026 F1 gaming right here in Automobilista 2. So I did 5 laps. I got what I wanted out of that. I jumped into Montreal now for the Canadian Grand Prix, starting from the back here. And we are at Montreal in the beginning of the hybrid era, and wanted to see what this race would have to offer, and as well wanted to put mixed weather racing to the test and see how this game kind of holds up. Now again, another thing, man, the audio in these games, absolutely fantastic in Automobilista 2. You see me making a few mistakes. You'll see another one coming up here in a second. I'm going to slam into the wall. I do have damage turned off in this video because we're just doing this for fun. We're not doing this in a serious manner, as there's my wall bang. But there's tons of damage as well in this game. You can have random mechanical failures. That's another thing where this game definitely wins out, is, you know, you can have so many different types of mechanical issues with your car that can end your race as well, which is really cool. The damage, it can be very unforgiving if you want it to be, which I think is awesome. And like I said, back to the audio is absolutely fantastic. Listening to the engines, even in the most, you know, basic Betty, boring sounding era of Formula One, it still sounds fantastic inside of Automobilista 2 as well. I mean, when we're in the 2025 car, you could hear the car kind of scraping along the ground when we're going through Eau Rouge and Madian, and sometimes like over the curbing. Like, the audio is absolutely fantastic, and it's those immersive things. This game does the immersion part really, really well compared to the F1 games, but I feel like the F1 game itself kind of wins out on the other categories, like the AI, because again, here you are seeing, I'm on maximum aggression from the AI, by the way, if you were wondering, because there's a lot of customization you can do in the AI and in the races, but again, they're just in a train. They're just following a train for the most part, and really just kind of live up to that stereotype of, like, when people don't like F1, like I said earlier, they just say F1's just a train, you know. It really does live up to that stereotype here, and that's for me. When I'm playing a game, I play racing games mainly for single player, and I'm all about how is the AI, and unfortunately the AI is just quite a bit lacking on the open wheel side of things in this game. But to be fair, there's other classes like GT racing in this game, the Brazil stock cars, just for example, that I've got history racing with, that have fantastic racing with the AI. So there is awesome AI racing to be had in this game. I want to make that known because you can have a lot of fun. There's so many different types of racing in this game. But the open wheel F1 side, priority of this video, yeah, the AI just really isn't it. As we're going to make a big lunge here up the inside now. And I mean, you could argue the AI's good enough, you know, to have fun. I would say so, honestly. It's just, you know, not anywhere close to the F1 games. Like, I could see myself doing like a career mode that spans over a decade of, multiple decades of Formula One, just because AI is just like just good enough now. As you see myself making a bit of a mistake there with some DRS and a lockup in the final chicane, but the rain was coming down, and crucial to see how the AI react to the rain. And one of the coolest things with the AI settings, however, in this game is the fact that you can actually have a setting to determine the AI's rain abilities. So you know how in the F1 games sometimes the AI are too good or just too bad? You know, they can be fine in the dry, but as soon as it's wet, it's a completely different scenario. Well, in this game, you can actually change their settings of how they perform in the wet conditions. I think that is absolutely fantastic. I don't know how that's not a setting in the F1 games. Nonetheless, though, we're starting to see the rain really come down. Another cool thing in Automobilista 2, though, is when the rain starts coming down, it can be wetter on one part of the racetrack versus another part of the racetrack now, and you're really going to see that in this video as I was starting to prepare now for tires, and I was surprised I only had an option for wets. I was wondering where an intermediate tire was, but there was only an option for a wet tire, so I'm not sure if they didn't have it or what, but the leaders you can see on the left side leaderboard are now coming into the pits. I decided I was going to run one more additional lap, and then we're going to pit and put on that wet tire, and then run the final few laps of this race. Oh my jump scare, that actually threw me off so hard I went off the racetrack. I was not ready for that. I'll give a replay here of this one just to see my reaction. That was such a jump scare. Oh my god, I was not prepared for that. But racing this car, you can see on the front half of the circuit how shiny the racetrack, how wet the racetrack is, of course. So it really, really is cool getting to be on the front half of the track, and I got to kind of tiptoe around a little bit more, but then get to the back half of the track, and it's a little bit drier. But regardless, I get to the pit lane here at the end of lap 7 of 10. And we'll head to our pit box. Another great thing, manual driving in the pit lane. Really wish we could get this in the F1 games. And we'll put on the hard compound tire. And well, I just drove away with no tires. Okay, there they go. They popped back on, thank goodness. But watch as I get through to the pit exit. No grip on the pit exit, and I was completely caught off guard. Not right there, but right here. I'm going to go straight on. I completely slide off the track. Thank goodness damage was off. I was so happy about that. I was just like, that was actually really cool because like the grip levels are just so different. And we're going to get back onto the racetrack now. The grass will wash off. Fortunately, when you're coming out of the pits, the AI do kind of goes through you so they don't get like bogged down behind you. So now what caught me off guard though, the AI, they have intermediate tires. I didn't even have an option to put on an intermediate tire. So I was very confused by that. As you can see, I was really struggling because, well, it turns out the conditions were not wet enough to be on a wet tire. So now my rear tires are overheating, my front tires are sliding quite easily, so now I'm in a bit of a disaster. I mean, I'm running in 16th place right now, but at this point it's just about survival with 2 laps to go because, I mean, yeah, I've got no grip whatsoever. The tires are overheating because, I mean, there's just not enough water to keep them cool. As we are right here on the back of these next 2 cars, this is where I noticed right there that they had green striped intermediate tires, and I was like, what? Why didn't I have an option for that? So that was a little bit frustrating, as you can. But look at the difference here as we head down into the hairpin. But you can see how much I'm struggling. You can just see how much drier it is on this part of the circuit compared to when we come back to the front straightaway and down on that run into turn 1. Look how much wetter it is over here, and I am hanging on for my life as we start the final lap of this Canadian Grand Prix now, and just all about, like I said, bringing it home at this point now. But you can actually see a dry line trying to form right there, which is really cool. All the cars, of course, going over that and eventually drying it out, which is really cool. And I'd be curious to see if this race went long, how that would work itself out. You really do see where my wets, though, kind of come into my favor. But unfortunately, I wasn't done messing up. Yep. Gonna go for a crash on the final lap. Just completely lost it. But man, this game is fun in its own way, and for the reasons I already highlighted. But is it the best Formula 1 game of the year? Not really, no. But you can absolutely make it a fun experience to have, and I still recommend, if you can get this game on sale, absolutely hop on it, because with mods you can turn it into a full-blown F1 experience and still have your own fun. Also, there is no inbuilt career mode as well in the game. You have to rely on mods just for career mode. I completely forgot to mention that, but stuff like that as well. But yeah, you're still going to have fun in Automobilista 2, and we're going to check out some classic content next because there's a lot of fun to have there as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.
I'm stuck in my head, need an exit.